So here's a hand that I played. It begins with me having aces in the cutoff. No, I was in the big blind. And the button calls with $2. And I raised to 7 on the big blind. And now the the button calls, and the flop comes 8 Jack 5 2 diamonds. And let's go over to Snowy. He calls, small blind folds, I raise to 7, he calls with 7, he was supposed to fold, and also he was supposed to fold 5-10. Though you're on the button, you need to play tighter and fold your hand. You need at least Queen 6 offsuit to open the pot, or Queen 6 suited to open the pot. So when I raise, one player re-raised you by a substantial amount. That reduces the pot odds. Additionally, the hand you're holding is giving you quite bad implied odds. You need to have at least King 4 suited to call. So anyways, he calls, the flop comes, and I was supposed to bet, but I did bet. I bet 0.37 pot, $5.5. And since small blind spiked at 5, a pair of 5s, now his action is to call, so he correctly calls. And now the turn comes at 4, so 5, 6, 6, 7 just made it straights. So I check, which is correct, and then he bets half a pot, and he's supposed to call with that pot size. So he made the wrong move, and over to me with aces, and 2 flush cards out there, and 3 to the straight, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have a clear call, and the river comes 7 with a diamond, which is really ugly. I'm supposed to check to give the button a wide range. When the button now bets $26, which is half pot, I have a call. So Snowy agrees. I'm supposed to call here for 0.57 pot. Alright, so this is the way. So it looks like Snowy thinks I played the hand correctly. So let's go back to the flop. Flop goes me betting 5.5. He calls 5.5 because he has a 5. He did make a pair. So turn comes a 4. I check, he bets. I check, he bets on the river, half pot, and I had enough. I was high enough in my distribution and hand strength that calling half pot was the correct move. So I dragged in a $100 pot. So that's pretty good. So let's watch the whole thing again with some pauses. Okay, pre-flop action. I am on the big blind with aces. Folds around to the button. Button calls $2. I raise to 7. He calls with 5, 10 of hearts. He makes a pair of 5s. I continuation bet half pot. He calls because he has a 5. The turn comes a 4. I slow down, and he fires, representing that he has 6, 7 or a jack. So 7, any 6 just made it, but there's enough bluffs that missed, or he could be betting for possible value on ace jack, which is highly unlikely. But he took aggressive action on the turn and on the river. Any 6. What kind of 6 does he have? 6, 7. He did limp, and he could still have a flush, but I have the ace. High flush, so he should be afraid of the flush, but he's betting out. Could he himself have a flush? I don't know. So when he bets 26, he's saying he's got a flush. And sometimes people do that though. If they make a straight, they'll still bet out. And then if they get raised, they'll fold to the flush. So it's not 100%, but he should have been afraid of the flush, but he still bet out. And when he does bet out, what does he expect he'll get called by? If he actually had a straight. Only somebody who has him beat, who has a flush. So with that line of thinking, he seemed more bluffy. What bluffs does he have? Nothing really missed, so he just has a random bluff. And if he has entitlement tilt based on ace jack, thinking ace jack, does his line seem like ace jack? Doesn't seem like it. Ace jack would have slowed down. So when he bets, it's a really polarized range. He's saying he has a very narrow range. Let's look at it again. He limped too, so he doesn't have ace jack. He calls the flop half pot bet. When I bet, he calls it. Okay, which could mean he had 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a terrible card comes with the 4, so I slow down, but I do call, and the 7 does make a straight, but also puts a flush on board, so I check, and I guess if he really had a straight, he would be bet folding, but betting 26 is kind of a large amount, so is he really expecting to bet fold? Is that the story? He's trying to tell a story that he has a straight and he would bet fold. I have the ace of diamond, so it's less likely he has a flush. Would he play a flush that way? Possibly. But he also has a chance of random bluff. I don't really see any combos of draws that missed. The flush came in, the 6-7 came in, the 6-8 came in, 6-8 would be a gut shot. 6-8 would be a gut shot. 5-6 would be another gut shot. A gut shot plus a pair. So that could have been the story. That could have been the story. But he still should have been afraid of the flush. So, interesting. Let's run it again. Aces on the big blind. He calls, he limps, I raise, he calls the raise, flop, he spikes a 5, which is standard to call right there, one street. Then when I slowed down, he came in with half a pot bet, $13. Pretty aggressive. He saying he has a straight at that point. He just has 6-7. Any kind of 6-7, 16 combos of 16, 6-7, and then 7 comes in, which makes a good story. He also, the flush did come in, but I probably would have more flushes in my hand. And I also have a diamond, so that's interesting. All right. Interesting hand.